Hey, Cameron. Hope you've had a good week. All right. So everything is live and posted and shared and all such things. Losing my taskbar. So I want to start with a little bit of an update on Sendig for last week. I've been doing a little bit of research. So a couple of things. First of all, I wrote a thing. It's on the WordPress.com blog. If you'd like to read it, go there and check it out. And if you like what I say there, leave a comment. And if you don't like what I say there, leave a comment anyway. So I wrote this, I don't know, quite lengthy article about my opinions on whether AI will replace web developers. Short answer, it depends. Long answer, read the blog post. According to this, it's a 7-minute read. So take a look. Let me know what you think. I'll paste the link in the chat if anybody wants to grab it from the chat. And feel free to leave your comments and your thoughts and all of that. I welcome comments. I don't always agree with your comments, but I welcome them. So that was the first thing. Secondly, I have been doing some research about Figma and my Sendig design. And I'm trying to find, there it is. Someone has recommended a free Figma course to me. Figma Design for Beginners. So my plan is to take this course. According to the course, it's 33 chapters. It should take about 180 minutes. So that's roughly 3 hours, if my math is mathing. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 modules. I have some leave coming up, so I'm planning on working through this course during my leave. The information that somebody shared with me, or the suggested direction that somebody shared to me, was to recreate the Figma design using auto layout and components. So this is kind of the core of what I'm probably going to be looking at. And they believe that if I do that, then I should be able to work better with the MCP stuff. So I'm going to work through this when I'm on leave. Not next week, the week after. So until then, I'm kind of putting the Sendig thing on hold until I can work through this course. And I'm just going to play with some other AI things in the streams until then. So that's the plan there. For today, there's two things I want to cover. The first thing is, in case you missed it, Telex sort of had its official launch recently. It got a fresh coat of paint that is very red. A number of folks have commented on. But it's sort of the new updated version of it. I've had some pretty good experiences with Telex in my last few tests compared to the first time I was testing with this. I'm trying to turn something off here. And so I want to kind of play with it a bit today. But the idea that I had was there is this front-end mentor site that somebody pointed out to me a while back. I thought I was already logged in. Okay, there we go. And it has these HTML challenges that you can complete. And it's all front-end stuff. So it's all, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. And there's a whole bunch of free challenges. And the person who shared this with me is somebody who has gone through some Learn WordPress courses, and I've been sort of helping them with some of those courses. And one of the things that these challenges have is they have a design. So they have a desktop and a mobile design. They have a brief. They have some assets. So they have JPEG, style guides, that kind of thing. There is a Figma design if you have the Pro version of the software, or the subscription, or whatever it is. But I thought it might be fun to see if we could use some of these challenges and see what we can build with Telex. So the idea is to maybe take the brief. I don't think Telex can work with images yet. I'm not sure. I think it's just the prompt. Yeah, we can't install images yet, or at least upload images yet. So the goal is to give it the prompt, sort of the brief, and see what it does. So let's click Start Challenge here. So we have JPEG images, style guide, and there's a README. So let's download the starter. I'm just going to dump it on my desktop quickly. I'm going to see what Telex can do with this. Okay, so it's a browser extension. Who owns the copyright for something Telex creates? I have no idea. Essentially, it's the same, I guess, as if you use any other kind of code editor that supports AI. I don't know the answer to that question. You're welcome to reach out to the folks at Automatic and ask. Okay, so where's that starter file? Let's go to desktop. Okay, so there's all the starter file stuff. Okay, so we've got some assets, we've got a preview, we've got the design, we've got the style guide, we've got the README. All right, let's open this up. VS Code. I guess the answer to that question is who owns the copyright for AI generated code? I guess it's the same answer. I don't know what the answer to that question is. I don't work with copyright, but I guess it's the same answer. Okay, so let's open up this and see what is in here. Okay, so here's the README. All right, here we go. So we've got a challenge, browser extension manager, and get looking as close to the design as possible. There are a list of the data for extensions in the local data JSON file. Okay, I'm going to need to be able to give it all that information. Build out this browser extension manager and get it looking as close to the design as possible. Okay, so the challenge is to get it looking close to the design as possible. I'm going to go back to the brief for this one because I want to see what it does. Here we go, here's the brief. So, browser extension. Okay. This one is maybe not a great one for Telex. I don't think I would manage browser extensions inside of a WordPress block. So let's see if we can find one that's more useful. Yeah, conference ticket generator, that might be a better one. What is the bento grid? Ooh, grid layers. Let's have a look. Build a bento grid. I guess the problem is they're wanting us to create specific designs, and I'm not too worried about design, to be honest. I'm looking more for ideas. Ooh, mortgage repayment calculator. That's probably going to be a better option. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so I want to build a mortgage repayment calculator block. Okay, I want a mortgage repayment calculator block. To a post page, should display mortgage repayment calculator, I guess. Users should be able to input mortgage information, see monthly repayment, total payment amounts after submitting the form, see form validation message if any fields are incomplete, complete the form only using their keyboard. Oh, that's an interesting one. View the optimal layout for the interface depending on the device's screen size. See hover and focus states for all interactive elements on the page. Okay. I think that's enough of a prompt. What I want to do now, so there's this thing in Telex where you can use AI to enhance the prompt. So let's start with that. And then we can cheap followers. No, I don't need cheap followers, thank you. I love these people who come in. And post these cheap followers messages on the stream. It's so funny. Okay, so now this has updated the create a WordPress block that displays an interactive mortgage payment calculator. In the editor, show a preview in the calculator form. On the front end, display a form with fields for loan amount, interest rate, and loan term in years. Let's have a look. Loan amounts, interest rate, term in years. I'm able to show repayment and interest only. Monthly payment, total repayment. Show validation message, hover and focus states. Okay, we also want to add that it should offer the user an option to show either the repayment amount or the interest only amount. Okay, so let's say monthly payment, total page reload. It should also offer the user an option to toggle between showing the repayment amount or the interest only. The repayment amount or just the interest amount. Okay. Show clear validation error messages for empty or invalid fields, and show full keyboard navigation support with proper tab order. That's cool. Display hover and focus states buttons to make the layout fully responsive with stacked fields on mobile and side by side on desktop. Include a reset button to clear all fields. Style the calculator with a clean professional appearance that matches common WordPress themes. I'm happy with that. Some things that I would like to be able to do is maybe upload some of the images or some of the README files to help build this block. That's just, you know, things that I would like to see maybe in future versions of Telex. For now, it just works on prompts, and that's fine. But being able to add files or attach files would be very cool. Okay, let's see what this builds. So this is going to go off and go and do a whole bunch of things. And I'm going to sit and stare at the screen. And this is always the most boring part of any AI live streams. So while that does that, I'm going to multitask today. Because I discovered something else quite interesting this week. And that is the fact that GitHub Copilot has this cool... I'm going to just take this off screen because you're going to be able to see my private repositories and I don't want you to do that. GitHub Copilot has this cool feature that I discovered. It's been around for probably a while, but I discovered it last night. This is a little Doom block that I built yesterday. And if you create an issue in a GitHub repository and you have GitHub Copilot on your account, which I do, I have the open source maintainers license, you can assign issues to Copilot and it'll go off and create a branch, generate a PR in a cloud type environment, and then submit that PR to your code. So one of the things that I always struggle with when I build software is the GitHub action workflow that prepares the release. So I have always, for the longest time, I've used AI to build that for me. So I'm going to ask Copilot to do this for me. Now, what's cool about this is I'm in my browser. I'm not doing anything in my IDE on this. So let's assign this to Copilot while Telex is doing its thing. And I'm not going to give it any additional prompting. I'm just going to assign it. And then we're going to come back after a bit, and we're going to see what that's done. I'm going to close this window now because I can, and go back to Telex. Okay, Telex is still busy writing code. So let's see what we have here. This could take a while, so I might need to actually keep GitHub open. So let me stick this in a tab somewhere. Now, what's cool about this is that if you have a look at the PR, you can actually go and see its plan, and you can actually go and view the agent session, and it shows you the steps that it's following. This is probably running in something similar to what GitHub Actions run in. So it starts an MCP server for the GitHub MCP server. It starts a Playwright server, which it uses for testing and various other things. And then it starts building out the code. So it's kind of cool. Okay, Telex is still working. So we might have to wait a while before it can do something useful. One of the things that I do find with AI agents these days is that they seem to be slower than what they used to do when they first came out. If I think about when I started with this back in January, things seem to move very fast. And I don't know if it's by design or if it's been the improvements in the models or the agents. I don't know. But they seem to take longer. Almost like taking longer is better. So I feel like it's by design. Like they've designed these agents to actually slow down so that you think they're thinking harder. Maybe, I don't know. So what this thing does is it does anything like you would normally do. It checks out your repository code, it checks for specific files, it, you know, then it spins up a dev environment. Ooh, there was an error. I wonder what happened there. Making sure Copilot feels comfortable in the cockpit. Interesting. I bet you it's because it's a plugin. It's a WordPress plugin. So it doesn't actually know what to do. Interesting. Let's see what happens there. Okay. We have a mortgage calculator. Okay, it definitely doesn't look like we expected it to look, and that's why I say it'd be cool to be able to give it imaging and see what's what. It's created the block. Obviously none of this is editable yet, which is to be expected. It hasn't given it any specific block level toolbar elements, which is fine. It's not the end of the world, I guess. Let's see if it works on the front end. Okay, so this is immediately, this is the fact that's causing that to do that. We have to try and fix that. I haven't typed anything in there yet. Okay, so let's say 100, 1, 2, 3, and let's go with 7% interest. And let's go over 25 years. And let's calculate that, and there's an error. Okay, so let's see if Telex can fix that. Now, this is something else that would be cool to be able to maybe... It's one of the things I do like about, and this is again me being a dev. I like to be able to see the code and like view the code before I accept it. This is just going to generate it and refresh everything, which I guess is fine. I could have a look at the code here if I wanted to. Let's see if I can find a quick calculator online just to test the, that's local. Let's just go 425. Let's say there's no down payment. 30 years interest rate. No, no. Does that matter? Wow. Okay, so according to this, 2627 a month. According to this, let's see what my block does. Okay. All right, let's go have a look on the front end. So what did you say it was? 425, 30 years, 5%. 425, 5%, 30 years. 2281. Okay, 2627. I'm guessing it's probably not including property tax and homeowners insurance. 2281. That actually worked. Interesting. I wonder if we could tell it to include property tax and homeowners insurance. What was that? That was 28. It was 99, wasn't it? It was 99. It's the only zip code I know offhand is Beverly Hills. No, property tax wasn't that. Let's refresh this. There's no down payment. Maybe we should add. Maybe we should add a down payment. Let's try that. No, let's take out the down payment. It's 280 and 66. Now, does that get added on top of your principal and interest? I guess so. Now, why is it different? Is this thing wonky? Oh, if you remove the property tax, it all changes. That's weird. Okay, I don't know if I trust this calculator. Okay, we'll leave it like that. It's giving me the same value, so that at least the math is mapping, which is good. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to fix this issue. Don't like that. So let's say reduce the font size of the input labels by 1. Let's make it 2 pixels. That's a lot of code for a 2 pixel change. I guess it rewrites the entire style sheet. While we're waiting for this, let's see how Copilot. It looks like Copilot's finished. Okay, we have a pull request to review. Cool, we can review that just now. Okay, block is taking a while. Okay, here we go. One thing, that looks a lot better. That's a lot neater and cleaner. Perfect, that fixes the issue. Let's check it out in the front end. It didn't fix the front end. Oh dear. I wonder why it's better in the editor than on the front end. Interesting. if it'll fix it. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay, let's make the field label. So it's the field group labels. So now. Let's reduce the font sizes. 2 pixels more. I wonder if it. I need to have a look at the code. Does it have separate styling for front? Let's have a look here. No. Okay, let's take this down to 770. See what that does. Preview. This is one thing I don't like about Telex. I wish it didn't show that home page first. I wish it went straight into this page. I don't know if that's even possible. I mean, that is what it's doing, but it's first it's playground loading and then first showing. I wish there was I wish playground had a better way to specify when something loads, go straight to that page. But anyway, so we'll look on the front end. Okay, that looks a lot better. So I will say that is one thing I do like about Telex is I can inspect an element that's running, see what the styling is that is applied, go into the code. I can turn this off. Go into the code, make the changes, save the changes. So that is kind of cool. So let's go back to the preview and let's test this out. So it was 425, 5%, 30 years. Okay, so that was the monthly payment. That's the interest only. See, the monthly payment isn't ticked. That's fine. Sure, total interest 396.37. Hey Troy. Honestly, I was just grabbing ideas from Frontend Mentor just to see what it could do. Okay. So now, kind of getting back to Cameron's question. So if we talk about copyright, like Telex generated this, but I was the one who prompted. So I can literally just go in here and say Jonathan Bossinger, and then I'm the author. And legally, I don't know what the rules are around that. I'll be honest. It's open source code. If I fork someone's code, and I replace my name with their name, I mean their name with my name, and replace all instances of their like custom domain stuff, does it become my code? Why is that not working? Oh, because I'm on the Mac and I'm using the wrong keyboard combination. So I guess this is the thing, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a developer, specifically an open source developer. So I've been remixing other people's code for almost my whole web dev career. I mean, even before I was an open source developer, when I was writing software for Windows machines and Windows applications, I was on the internet. I was searching code examples. I was taking things from books. So when it comes to code and copyright, I'm of the personal opinion, me personally, that you can't copyright open source code. You can only copyright like trademarks, and that's a whole conversation which has been happening over the course of the last year and beyond. But if it's open source code, I mean, you can copyright it. I have seen, I think EDD is an example. EDD includes a copyright notice, and they say that all of the code is copyright EDD, whatever the case may be. But I don't see how you can have a GPL copyleft license and a copyright. I don't see how those two things can work together personally. So my limited understanding is if I just call this, if I just rename this all to myself, I don't even know if it's that. I think I just delete that out. If I just rename this all to myself, it's mine. That's my understanding of it. I prompted it. I asked it what to build. I tweaked the styling. It now becomes mine. Someone else can take it and remix it and do what they want. And it becomes theirs. So, if anybody knows any better, let me know. But that's my understanding of it. Interesting. Created a render.php which didn't need. Be cool if those things could get cleaned up. What if I can delete the render? No, it doesn't look like I can. Okay, all good. Alright, so now let's save these changes. Now this is kind of, to be honest, one of the things that I like about thanks, Troy. One of the things I like about Telex is I can now go in and edit the code. Personal annoyance, and I have raised this with the team. Telex is an automatic product. I work at Automatic. I tested this in the early days. This doesn't follow the WordPress 6.7 block improvements, block registration improvements. I don't think that's the end of the world, but it would be cool if it did. So just something to be aware of if you're building blocks. There were some improvements to block registration that supports a new block.asset.php file, which is useful if you have multiple blocks inside of one plugin. Obviously, Telex is creating one block per plugin, so you're probably not going to hit that issue, but just be aware of it. I am going to replace Telex with my name, just because I want to make this mine. I'm trying to run through. One thing I do know is I think Control R. No, Control F. Yes, Control F works for finding and replacing. So if you want to, let me just revert this back. If you want to, if you need to do a find replace to rename this, you can, which is cool. So you can do all of this before you even download things. I don't think you can do it across multiple files, but you can do it inside one file. So if I search for Telex, for example, cool. Okay, so I want to replace Telex there with Jonathan Bossinger. Just the one. Something that somebody internally has asked for is an easier way to rename things. So if it was like a school, there's like a rename button. Damn it! It's there. There is a rename button. Wonder how that works. There is a way to rename block, but I have not success with it. Okay, cool. Maybe we'll play with that just now. Maybe we've got some time. I shouldn't have made all those changes, should I? Oh well, it's too late now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my other blocks that I have built and I'm going to try and rename that. Okay, this is looking good. Kind of happy with all this. I haven't looked at the actual code here. I do like the fact that it's actually building for the editor. It's actually building like proper SCSS code. I just generally use regular CSS, but it's actually using nested CSS styles, which is kind of cool. And that's a very SCSS thing. So you know your CSS should theoretically be better. Let's have a look at all the view stuff. This is probably going to be pretty straightforward. Okay, I think that's all good. So let's save those changes. And now I want to download this plugin. And I want to set it up on my local studio so I can see if it works. So let's go studio. Now, there was a bug a while ago where if you installed and activated the plugin, it would cause an error. I think that has been fixed. So Troy says I've renamed 2 blocks, neither of them built, it seems. They're no longer available in the block inserter, but I can download them and use them just fine. Okay, cool. We'll test that out after this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this block, and I'm going to stick it on my desktop for now. No, where am I going to stick it for now? Yes, on my desktop. And then I'm going to extract it. Hey Carolina, long time no see. I'm busy playing with Telex. Okay, so there's all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install that in my studio site. First, let me just disable some other plugins that I was busy fiddling with recently. So let's deactivate that. Plugin check we can deactivate. Okay, cool. Let's add the plugin. So the first thing I want to do is I want to see if this thing activates and works. And then I want to see if I can continue deving on it locally, because that was another thing that was bothering me some time ago. But I think they fixed that bug as well, which is kind of cool. Okay, so that's that done. Ooh, there's obviously a mortgage calculator on the .org repository, because I'm now going to get the updated version of it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so let's just deactivate this and delete it. And let's add the other one again. So that's something that would be cool for Telex to do, to actually check if the slug already exists in the WordPress plugin repository, because otherwise you get those kind of problems. I might log this into I'm going to grab a screenshot of it just to show the folks. Okay, I'm just going to stick this on my desktop for now. I don't know how easy that would be to do though, because what they would have to do is they'd have to query the plugin repository REST API endpoint and check if the slug exists. So something to be aware of. I wonder if we can. I know. Let's try and rename the plugin now. So let's say rename project, and let's say John's mortgage. Is that spell mortgage calculator. I want to rename the block as well. So let's rename. John's. Why did you do that? John's. That's too funny. Oh my word. Good grief. John's. You damn thing. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Let's try this again. Let's go rename project, and let's go my mortgage calculator. Let's see what it does with that. John's my so it's kept the John's as the what's the name namespace. Still John's there. Yeah, the renaming functionality is not great. So let's just say my mortgage calculator. My mortgage calculator, that's fine. That's all fine. Let's go to package JSON. Cool. I mean, it's the dumbest name in the world, but hey. And then that's fine there. My mortgage calculator block. That's not the text domain, is it? I didn't set a text domain. I probably should. Oh, I did. Block WP. Yeah, that's also not great. I just want that. So there's definitely some minor tweaks you need to start making. I do like the fact that you can make them in the code editor. Troy says, block John's my mortgage calculator. Exactly. Oh, I didn't even see that. That's beautiful. Yeah, the renaming is definitely on the wonky side, but that's okay. This should all be fine. Just check, is this thing using, yeah, this is using all kinds of John's my mortgage calculator preview. That's going to be a problem. Okay, let's see if I can fix this manually. So let's do a copy and a find replace. I'm going to have to do this inside of every file as well. So replace all. Okay, let's just check in the index. Index should be fine. The edit will need replacing. Good grief. This is all the text domain stuff. And that one. Still needs a human. Looking better though. No, still fail. Good grief. I think I need to spend some time on this renaming functionality and figure out what it's doing. That looks better. Let's go to the save. Just check if there's anything I need to worry about there. Okay, so John's my mortgage calculator. Has to become my mortgage calculator. That's better. Oh, that's much better. Now we're gonna have to fix the styling. Oh, that styling's probably gonna break as well. Ah, damn it! Because because that's not the container block anymore. I'm gonna have to check that. It's gonna be WP block Jonathan Bossinger. I honestly can't remember. It's not even loading anymore. Ask the AI to review and update your class names. It's not a bad idea. Now I'm logged out. What's going on? I think I broke it. Come on, block. I think I broke it. Damn it. That's a pity. Okay. So renaming is not to be trusted yet, just yet. I don't have time to spend trying to fix this now. So I'm going to go back to the plugin. I'm just going to leave that like that. So that worked. Let's see if we can add it to a page. Let's just put it on my new page over here. There's the calculator. Why is it so zoomed in? Oh, it's 100%. Okay. And there it works. It was 425, 5%, 30 years. Okay, that still kind of works. There is a bug here, like this should be ticked by default so that we can then switch between the two. So there's definitely some bugs in this, but not bad. Yeah, so the naming thing I think is definitely needs some work. I'm not going to copy the share link now because it's all crazy. One thing that I do know folks have been asking for is a way to upload a zip file to Telex. So it would be cool to now take the code, download it, fix it locally, and then upload it again. That would be cool. I kind of want to see... I think the reason the renaming failed is because I started fiddling with things. So I kind of want to go back to one that I was working on recently. Let's see, I think it was Tic-Tac-Toe is probably a good example. Let me just see here. Just have a look at the code. No. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete Tic-Tac-Toe. Did that just work? Doesn't look like deleting works either. That's fine. Let's make a new project. I want to test this renaming. I want a block that implements a simple Minesweeper game. I love building games, and I love building them inside blocks. So I want to do that, and I want to rename it, and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to close this down. The other thing I want to do while that's building is I want to see whether this will install and build locally. So, just go and install. Why does that music sound like a Mario Brothers game? I mean, it's not the worst thing to listen to when you're coding. And it's gone. Okay. Right, this thing's still building. I wonder what's going to take longer, npm install or Telex building a block. Why is npm install taking so long? Right, it's adding the node modules. Okay. There we go. And so now I should be able to go npm run build and should build. Now that's something it wasn't doing recently. So I'm kind of cool that that's working. And I will say I'm pretty pleased with the fact that I added the pull request that added the dependencies. So I'm quite happy that it works. It had the scripts, but it didn't have the dependencies, so you couldn't install the dependencies and run the build. So I'm pretty happy with that. So it all does work, which is great. Okay, dokie. So is this thing still building? I don't know where it takes so long. While that's doing its thing, let's go back to this GitHub Copilot pull request. Let's see what it's created. It has created a release. looks like it creates a bunch of files. It's not. Does it create? It's not going to create everything it needs. Can almost guarantee that. Where is it? Let's have a look at the code. Cheers, Troy. Have a good one. It's not including the build. Is it? What about the build? Okay, so let's do a review. Oh, there is the build. Okay, there is the build. Okay, cool. So I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it looks good to me. See what happens. And then I'm going to come back to Telex. Telex is still thinking. Okay. Okay, so that's done. So I'm hoping it'll just merge this now, or maybe it won't. So let's say ready for review. And let's merge this. Okay, and then let's have a look. Telex is still busy. So let's see if we can get this GitHub action to run and if it actually builds the plugins up. How do we run this? Push. Oh, hang on. Blast. Okay, I'm gonna have to test that later. Let's see what Telex is still thinking. Weird. Okay, let's see. Let's see what happens when we rename this block. Okay, so currently the block is called Minesweeper Game. Web contributors of WordPress Telex. Minesweeper Game. Okay. Okay, so let's rename it. Project name, John's Minesweeper Game. I want to see what it does with that. Okay, that looks a bit better. Yeah, that didn't break. So I think it's because I manually edited things. That things broke. It would have been nice if it renamed the plugin file as well. But that's fine. I'm not sure I agree with the text domain stuff, but it is what it is. Let's see if this still works. It does not. So the renaming currently breaks the functionality. Yeah. Renaming is currently completely balked. And there's no way to revert. So that's definitely something that needs to be fixed. So if there's anybody from the Telex team watching, we definitely need to fix the naming. I wonder if I can... So I think it was Troy who said ask the AI to review and update the class name. So let's see if we can fix that. After renaming the plugin and the block, it no longer loads. Fix this, please. I always say nice. I'm always nice. Let's see if it can figure that out. The main plugin file should have been renamed. Really? If it was just that, then that's pretty cool, and that was something that I mentioned, so that's maybe something to report. Okay, so it's loading. It looks like that was the only problem. So it's not renaming the file, it's just renaming the internal stuff. So that's definitely something that needs to be fixed. So let me think about this. I wonder why that would break. I don't know how Telex works. One thing I would like to do is I would like to replace the author name. So let's see. Make me Jonathan. Oh, it's logged in. So does it know who I am? The author of this plugin. Let's see if it knows who I am. Based on the fact that I'm logged in. It's picked up that my name is John, so it's making John the author. So it doesn't have any context, it doesn't know who I am, based on the fact that I'm logged in. That would be a kind of cool feature. I need to make some notes here. I need to make notes. I need to desperately make notes. So let's go here. So let's say Telex renaming feature needs to also rename my plugin file. That seems to be the fix. I'll have to test that. It would be cool if it got my name from the fact that I'm logged in and made me the author. What was the other thing we said? Oh yeah, ability to upload images or files as context. Ability to upload files or images for context. Something that I did ask about today was being able to connect to existing GitHub repositories and build those into blocks, but I mean, that's probably outside of the scope of. Okay, so let me do this today. My name is Jonathan Bossinger. Please make me the author of this block. Just take out please, because apparently that's burning up the forest. Let's fix the text domain. README actually needs to be my WordPress username. WordPress.org username for the README. Okay, I've been doing this for an hour now. I want to have some fun. So something that came up in conversations recently was running the Telex blocks against. Didn't even test that it works. Ooh. Boom. Okay, it does work. Okay, cool. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. So if it's that one, it's not that one. It's not that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's got to be. So that one should be fine. Okay, so the game does work. So this is going to be the last thing I do today. I want to go into the admin. I want to install the plugin check plugin. And I want to run plugin check checks against my plugin. Let's see what happens. It would be cool if Telex just loaded with this plugin by default and then had some kind of loop or option to be able to run these checks. But if I now go to plugin check, select John's Minesweeper and run plugin repo and security checks. Okay, so there's a text domain mismatch, that's fine. Let's actually do, let's add general as well. Actually, let's fix that first. If I fix that, it's going to reload everything and I'm going to lose plugin check. So let's add general to it. It's fine. Let's go performance. That's fine. Okay, so it looks like it's just the text domain issue. That's great. So let's go back to the code. And let's update all text domain. So make sure the following text domain value is used across the entire plugin. John's My Mortgage Calculator. So that should really be updated when the renaming happens as well. Feature needs to update text domain. I'm going to say playground blueprint plugin check installed by default installed and active. That would be cool to see as well, because at the moment you're going to have to install it every time. Okay, so that seems to have updated everything there. Let's check the edit. Yeah, it looks like it's worked. Okay, let's go back to the admin. Let's go back and install plugin check. Still getting text domain mismatches. Text domain header in the plugin does not match the slug. Oh, because the slug is John's Minesweeper. That's why. So yeah, so that's something we should also think about. So I'm going to make a note of that. Smash the slug. And the slug is essentially main page view file. Okay. I am pretty happy with that testing today. There's definitely some really cool stuff going on here. There's definitely some places that I think it needs to be improved, but it's come a long way from when it first launched. The fact that I can just download the plugin and install it and use it is really cool. So if you want to check out the plugin, I will share the link with you. I think I've already copied the link. I'll paste it into the chat and I'll try and do my best to include it in the... That didn't copy anything. Huh? That didn't copy. Why didn't it copy? Why does it do that? That's... Now I'm logged out. Man. I'm logged in again. Okay, that's a bit wonky. So let me try and copy the share link again. See if I can paste it. Nope, for some reason the copying of the share link doesn't work, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if this is a Brave issue, but I am not able to copy the share link. It just copies whatever text I had last in my clipboard. I don't know what's going on there, so it looks like the share link is broken. So someone's probably picked that up already. Alright, that's me for today, folks. I am pretty happy with where this has come. There's some small things that I think need to be fixed. I'm going to feed this all back to the team, hopefully make this a lot better. But essentially, as far as I'm concerned, this code is now mine. If I download this, I can submit this somewhere. I'm not going to, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with where this is. So if you want to learn to build blocks, check this out. It does some pretty cool things. And then go and read up about what all these things do. Figure it out from there. I can't test my release because I've set it up on when it gets pushed. So I'm going to have to ask Copilot to fix that. I wonder if I can go to the pull request and reopen it. Got a few minutes. I don't have to finish at 3. I can go a little bit longer. Let's revert this. No, I don't revert it. I don't want to revert this. What I want to do is let's create a new issue. I'll let this run offline. Update the release workflow to also make it possible to trigger a release manually. Let's create that. Let's assign that to Copilot. Should be possible to trigger a release manually by running the GitHub action. And then I'm probably going to have to there's always a GitHub token in these things. I think that just works. Yeah, I think that just works. But I have to say, this automatic pull request stuff on the GitHub issue is pretty cool. I'm going to delete this. how long this will take. I wonder if this can get it done in the next 15 minutes. This is one of the things that kind of would be cool to try and fix. I don't know if I have a Copilot instructions on this. I do. It would be cool to be able to give the Copilot instructions the details that it's busy like building and that now to be able to determine how this all works. I almost would expect it to be able to do that, so read the instructions and know how it builds, and not have to go through this process of building everything and testing and checking. How would I give it that context? It would be nice, and then it doesn't have to do all of this, and then just go, fine, now I know what I need to do. Although on the other hand, maybe this is better because it actually... Okay, let's see what the changes are. Oh, it's going to add workflow dispatch. I guess that's it. Oh, so the tags include a V version number. Oh, I could have created a version and then it would have triggered it. Maybe I should test that before I merge this. Yeah, that would be a way to do it. Okay, let's see if I can do that. So let's go to code. Let's create a new release. Let's create a new tag. So go version 0.1.0. Target is trunk. And it's version 0.1.0. And let's generate some release notes. And let's publish that release. This should trigger the action. I just realized. So let's see if that is the case. Looks like it. Let's see if this is going to work. If you're here to watch me play with Telex, I've done that already. I'm now busy playing with GitHub Copilot. Automatic pull requests and testing a pull request that I did earlier. So, failed. Boo. How would I? What does that even mean? Well, let's see if GitHub can explain the error. GitHub token. I haven't set up the GitHub token. Okay. So I need to set up the GitHub token somehow. I'm not quite sure how that works. I think I need to configure it for the project or something. So that I'm going to do some other time. Anyway, cool. I I'm pretty happy with all that. That's pretty cool that it now it's giving me an idea of what I need to do. I thought it was the GitHub token originally, and then I forgot about the GitHub token. I think you need to set it in your project settings, I think it is. Deploy keys, I think. I don't know if doing this will cause any issues. I think, oh wait, it's under actions. I set up the GitHub token, and then it should work. I think it's a repository secret, but I can't remember. So I'll do that offline. But do check that out. GitHub Copilot now supports creating, no, go back one. Creating pull requests from issues, which is a pretty cool feature. All right, that's going to be me for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed my fiddling with Telex and my playing around with GitHub Copilot pull requests. It's definitely come a long way from when I started doing this back in January. Things are definitely becoming a lot smoother. They're still not perfect, but it's getting a lot better. It's amazing what we can build with AI these days. And if you're bored, go to wordpress.com/blog and read my latest blog post about whether or not AI is going to replace you tomorrow. It won't. I don't believe it will. But do check that out if you get a chance. Otherwise, I'm done for today. If you want to catch us on YouTube, I'll post it to YouTube on Monday. And I'll see you next week for... I don't quite know what yet because I still need to go through that Figma course before I can carry on with the Sendig. But that's me for today, folks. Bye.